I'm Emily.
No, I'm Eric.
Welcome back to the You Should Thank Me podcast about a married couple in our 40s living in Ontario with their 2 doggos.
This week on episode 10,
Dum-dum.
we're talking about pets. We've never talked about pets. I feel like we talked about pets.
Well, I think we've talked about...
Of them.
Yeah, I don't think we've gone into detail about...
Are we going to talk about when I had a hermit crab in grade?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, well, it's a great story, but okay. Yeah.
Well, I first wanted to quickly circle back to the previous episode, so obviously episode 9, where at the end we talked about the small hills that we would die on, and I remembered what they were, and we did kind of talk about them before we even recorded last time, but one of them was the if adults drink milk, but don't have cereal, or literally just having a glass of milk. I feel like that's psychopathic behavior.
Psychopathic?
Yeah, I think it's so weird.
I don't...
and we're also the only mammals that do that, that drink other mammals' milk, and then not only do that, but do it after a certain age.
Okay. And I've heard that.
I know, that's a lot.
I've heard that argument.
I said a lot.
Yeah. So I'm just going to kick the mammal argument. When a mammal can build a house, then I'll take its opinion on what it can eat or drink, okay? Weird small hill to die on. And that's what started this whole conversation last week, is I can't believe you have such a problem. There's people out there that have a glass of warm milk before they go to bed, and I think that is the most normal thing. It kind of also ages you. If I found a 20-year-old guy doing that, I'd be like, do you have a 70-year-old soul?
So maybe that is actually part of it, is because I know somebody too who is older who doesn't necessarily have a warm glass of milk, but drinks milk, on the daily, on the regular, but they are older.
I would drink milk.
Dad?
I would drink milk any day of the week, with or without cereal.
Oh, okay. So I guess it's not a generational thing, because I thought that's maybe what it was, a generational thing.
I do think there is a generational thing to it, but I also just think that me growing up, milk was like a rich commodity, I guess. We had 3 milk companies where I was from, and there was this really fancy milk. I don't know what, don't ask me to go into more detail, but if you could have a glass of milk, that was a good thing, opposed to a glass of water, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously you don't see me drink milk, but they're just like how we drink Diet Coke. There have been years where I'm I'm just gonna hammer milk for the next year.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
Well, I hope that I go through a milk phase again, so you can call me psychopath.
Well, I know that's harsh, but we do. That's the thing too, is we don't even actually keep quote unquote dairy milk, normal milk in the house.
Yeah.
Even for my coffee, you obviously you drink it black, but
yeah.
With mine now, I've recently switched back to soy. I was drinking creamers, and then almond and oat and blah blah blah. But back on soy, apparently, according to my naturopathic doctor, cool. It's the best of the dairy alternatives. But yeah, it's not even you even have true milk to chug.
Did she sell it as being soy good?
Yeah.
What else? What other small hills do you die
on? So the other one, which I think you agree on, is when people clap when a plane lands.
So, being the milk expert I am, I would say I'm the opposite on planes. So, I've certainly seen people clap, and I'm I thought I was not, I didn't understand it. I still don't understand it. You kind of get paid to do that job, and I'm not saying it's easy, but if someone hooks up my my internet or something like that outside, I don't clap. I'm I can't do it, but I'm not gonna clap if he goes to a trunk and sets up my
that's
table. True. And I'm not obviously being a pilot's a little bit more difficult, but I just can't think of any jobs where I would clap.
So that's your approach. That's your approach, right? Where it's I don't do this anywhere else, so why would I do it for a pilot?
Yeah, and
versus they have your life in their hands.
Did we clap though when we came back from?
Yes.
We did clap.
I think I did.
I think I clapped too. So we went to the Dominican a few years back, and then it got hit with a hurricane. So when we got back, I don't remember clapping, but that would have been a time to clap, but only because
That's
I was sick
forgivable.
of hurricanes.
I feel like that's forgivable, and I feel like that is. I know I'm like contradicting myself, but I feel like that is an anomaly, right? To
Yeah.
clap because we were basically stuck in Punta Cana. We had to stay in the airport overnight. The flight kept getting delayed. Sunwing was awful, allegedly. So yeah, it just was kind of a really stressful, horrific thing, and
How are they allegedly awful? Like the guy literally made fun of us for showing up there, and he was part of Sunwing. So
was that Sunwing?
yeah, he was like, "Why would you come take a plane?" Because I'm trying to get off this rock, brother. Like,
Yeah.
Sunwing was awful, and then they gave us like $50 to go use them again. It wasn't even like, "Hey, here's a lobster to crack," you know.
Yeah. Well,
Lobster's what I call $50 bill, by the way.
well, not only that, but there was basically zero communication from them.
Yeah, let's not even get into that. Like that's another story. We clapped on that time, but that was under some extreme stress and circumstances.
Yeah.
But any other time we see people clapping, I'm looking at you and I'm like, what? Like I almost want to like show you a card trick, you know, just so I can get a little bit of an applause.
Yeah. So let us know in the comments if you're a plain clapper or not.
Well,
or maybe don't reveal your
maybe
true
you've turned it
colors.
off there. We've heard
Or plead your case.
We've heard the plane clapping crew.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but how was your week?
pretty good. I got a radon kit.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Exciting times.
I saw this meme on the internet, and they're just like the biggest red flag is when you meet someone with no hobbies. So I was like, I better get one soon. So I was like, just looked at the period of elements and radon. It's like I can get into this. Yeah, so I got a radon kit.
Mm-hmm. And aren't you done testing with it or no?
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that takes a few days, and you have to test every area. And like I know everyone like clicked on this podcast to hear about radon, but you're gonna hear about radon for at least a couple of minutes, okay? Because it's the silent killer. Anyway, so it's like when uranium comes out of the earth, and it can get into like certain things, like through your windows or through like a well.
Your foundation.
Yeah, and it can cause cancer. So we have a sketchy looking basement. So I thought, hey man, if I was radon, I'd hide here.
Yeah.
And so far so good though.
Yeah. Well, it's not only sketchy, but I think the big thing is that it's old.
Yeah.
Right? So that was, I think, the part of the key contributing factor, I would imagine.
Yeah, but when you said that to me, I Googled, I'm like, how old is radon? And supposedly it's as old as Earth. So it didn't really matter the age of the house, like, you know what I mean? But
well, no, but I would imagine.
It was a bad joke.
Oh, that was supposed to be a joke? Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, so far so good on the radon. And we're going to keep testing, and I want to be a radon expert, maybe.
Oh, there you go.
Right.
New career trajectory for you.
New hobby.
New hobby. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just gonna go over to friends' houses and be like, if I was radon, I'd be right here, and they'd be like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I'll bring it up for my kid.
You know you're 41.
You know what's sad is I was like thinking about this for 2 years before I bought one.
Oh, that is sad.
Because I was like, no one ever talks about it. And then I brought it up at a baseball game, and then everyone was like, I have no idea, but I'm like concerned. And I was like, and then I just forgot. And then I found it out for 50% off, and I was like, gotta pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But yeah, cool. My week was maybe not quite as chemically infused.
No, it wasn't.
Or what's it's not a chemical. What is it? An organic substance? I don't know.
It's a chemical. I would call it chemical.
Yeah,
I think it's a noble gas.
Oh, there you go. Is it?
I'm pretty sure it is. Oh man, yeah. Anyways.
But no, my week was good. I had my second week of volleyball. And it did go a lot better. Obviously,
Do people know about the first week though?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I talked about it last week.
I
How
forgot.
the struggle was real. And people misrepresenting their skill level, which not a fan of.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was better this week. primarily because we not only had 4 people, but one of them was a sub, and then also the person who didn't show up last week was able to come this week, and then that person who misrepresented themselves was not able to attend. So, I mean, it definitely was a little bit better. So we'll see what happens in the 3rd week, but I think that this person might just be voting themselves off the island. So
That's what you hope.
Yep, that's the plan. Crossing my fingers. And then also celebrated Mother's Day with my
Your mom,
my mother.
It would have been cool if you celebrated Mother's Day with your dad, though. That would have been like a move.
No, that's for June.
You're so funny.
It's truth. Yeah, so I had a nice little spa getaway with my mom for like a 24-hour jaunt to like a little local town. So my week was great, and I had a 4-day work week coming up because of May 24, and then I have another 4-day work week after that. So it's exciting.
Break any more there?
Count down every week.
Yeah.
How many days left? So, and we're recording on a Monday, so I only have 3 more days this week.
Yeah. While you were away, I was working really hard, so you could take those extra days off.
That's a lie. My vacation days don't have anything to do with how hard you work. But nice try.
Did we? Yeah, we put in the plants last week, right? So we talked about that. I guess I set up the lawnmower and was just been water in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
I live an exciting life, right on lawnmowers.
Yeah.
I picked up some trash nearby.
Mm-hmm.
There is some gross stuff in that trash, but I don't want to.
We're not going into detail about that.
All right, I won't. Anyways, but that was probably the most exciting thing about
Sorry.
watching
the radon thing, you mean?
Oh no, so picking up the weird trash. But either way,
gotcha.
Not allowed to talk about it. We're allowed to talk about anything but my trash.
All right. Well, let's segue into your hermit crab. Story.
Okay. Well, what's the real question here though? Like, what animals I grew up with?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, your childhood pets. Like, what did you have?
So
Did you have name for your hermit crab?
Yeah, his name was Scorpion.
That's really confusing. It's sending a very mixed message.
You know what's weird is how I never thought how stupid that name was until I legitimately was in my 30s. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I named a crab Scorpion. But like, it wasn't, a Scorpion was like a character in a video game. And then I realized that like, when I tell people that, they're just like, so you named it after
another animal?
It's like, do you have a snake and you call it a frog? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so growing up, I had I always butcher Bichon Frise.
Sure.
You say it.
I don't know.
You say
you're not 100%. I think it's like Bichon Frise.
Okay,
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm guessing 2.
I had one of those, and it was like my mom's dog, though.
So we're already jumping to a dog? You're not talking about the hermit crab?
Well, I thought you wanted me to start. The hermit crab came way later.
Oh, I thought it was like one of the first pets.
I'll go real quick. All right, we got
Buttons.
No. Buttons was the first dog. Was my mom's dog, Little B.
Was it white?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a cat named Oreo, which is kind of like my sister's cat.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little cutie. And then we had the family dog Tess, which was a black lab. And then I got the hermit crab.
Oh,
I was not fulfilled by the black lab. I needed a hermit crab.
So was the black lab still alive, though?
Yeah.
Oh, and then you got the hermit crab.
Yeah, it wasn't like the hermit crab rode the black lab, which would have been super cool. Scorpion riding Tess. Imagine. I think we had some guinea pigs in between. I don't really remember that. I don't think they survived. I think they were more my brothers.
Mm.
And then we had the other cat, Tinker 2.
Mm-hmm. What about Tinker 1?
Tinker 1 was my brother's best friend's cat.
Oh.
And then Lance got a cat named it Tinker 2.
Oh, okay. I actually don't think I really knew that. I just assumed it was 1 and 2 in the same household.
Yeah, and pardon my French, but Tinker 2 was also affectionately named Shitty Kitty.
Mm-hmm.
Because it fell in an outhouse once, and that was amazing. It was awful, but it's an amazing story now, and that cat was just the coolest cat ever. Like, it really, something happens with a dog or a cat, and you just become the coolest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying throw your cat in an outhouse, but everything worked out afterwards.
I mean, it definitely is like the family lore.
Yeah, certainly. It is a story. Every time something gets every time that cat gets brought up, everyone has to bring up that story.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. Probably I might be. Oh, we had like I think they call them minx, which is like a cat slash lynx. It could be a different name, but it was like it had no. Yeah, it had no tail. It was
bobcat.
It was very vicious.
A bobcat.
Okay.
I think.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, unless you can
What's
say.
its name?
Name was Socks.
Oh.
Yeah, with an X.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you ever try and bring random animals home?
So, oh my God. We had one animal that would come around, and it was a cat. We called it Jake Iron Balls. I don't need to go into detail why it was a boy cat.
Names.
Yeah.
You tell like teenage boys
yeah.
naming these
Jake
animals.
was cool though. Jake was a cool cat. That was it. We might have had another animal come by. I can't think. Like we'd have like neighbors' dogs hang out.
Yeah, I was gonna say like because where you're living was obviously more like rural. Like I feel like a lot of the dogs and even cats, if they survived all their predators, would just kind of roam around and like hang out kind of thing.
Yeah. And like predators were where I was at, like the worst thing is a bear. Like bears are pretty skittish.
Like worst thing for a cat.
Oh, a cat? Yeah. So yeah, if it was a cat,
well, a coyote. A coyote could eat.
There's no coyotes around where I'm at.
Wolves, they could eat the.
And wolves are too far away, but like there are wolves, but they don't hang out where we're at.
The coyotes could eat a cat though.
And a fox for sure. You're right about that.
True.
But yeah, I don't think there were a lot of coyotes. There might be now. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But what about you?
Well, I'm not gonna go name by name because then we'll be here for
you guys
like
have a lot of animals.
5 hours.
Just name me the top.
Oh.
Okay, no.
No. So I'm trying to like do it in order too, but I mean I think the earliest pet that I remember is we had this like white cat named Frosty.
Yeah.
And I think being 3 little kids all under the age of like 10 or 11 kind of probably gave her a little bit too much attention, and so by the end of it she like hated everybody except my mom. She was probably like traumatized by all of us wanting to love on her so much. So that was like the first animal I think that I remember. And then we also, funny enough, as you know, but we have had a dog named Tess as well. But she was a golden retriever, so we got Tess in and around, I think, the same time, maybe like a year or 2 after. So we had Tess, and then from there we moved out into the farm, so that's kind of when the zoo began. Starting with the biggest animals was horses, so we never had more than... So the barn, I think, was 4 stalls, so we never had more than 4 horses, obviously, at a time, but I think in rotation in total we had like 6 horses. Which my favorite overall was Sarge. He was just the bestest boy, and he would have been used as like a therapy horse for children with disabilities, but he had an issue with like if you touched like his flank, which is kind of like near his back end, he would kick to the side, so obviously he did not pass the test, but otherwise, and that was like an issue no matter what. But yeah, so that was like my first pony, or the first horse that like we had on the farm. So he was pretty special. And even later, I know I'm going on a tangent, but even later after we had moved away from the farm, I knew where he was sold to, just by memory. No clue what the streets names were called, but I would just drive out there and I would go say hi to him. And he lived to be pretty old, like probably like 32, 33. But yeah, so on the farm though, we had we still had obviously the cat, the dog, the horses, we had chickens, we had, bunnies, and then I think from there sold the farm, then sold the cat, the dog, we had birds. I mean, one of my sisters had like lizards, she had a freshwater aquarium.
I don't hear a lot of hermit crabs.
No, we didn't really have any crabs.
You don't have any crustaceans.
No, I think the closest would be like not even close, but like gecko. My sister had a gecko, maybe even 2 of them. She had, I think they're called anoles or something, which are these little lizards. She also had a snake.
Oh yeah.
I think that was then, or maybe now.
Oh yeah.
Or then. yeah, so the list goes on. And then also I had another cat when we moved away from the farm. The deal was that my parents would get me a cat, or a kitten rather. Um, so lucky for them, I accepted the deal and ended up selling all the horses and then gave me this little kitten named Cookie. So named
Yeah.
after cookies and cream because the whole litter was named after truffle bars.
Anyone get whoever got what Crunchy? That would have been the
Oh,
worst cat.
I don't know what I
Big
feel like
jerk.
I feel like some of the other kittens were like Kit Kat and Mars. I think those were like,
I
yeah,
think that's a good cat name.
very
Actually.
good, like Kit Kat. Yeah,
Kit Kat.
very
Oh,
very
okay.
fitting.
So stupid. That has the name in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about any weird animal experiences?
I mean, I was never the one to bring. I don't think I really brought home any stray animals, but my middle sister did. And I remember on the farm once she randomly found this like massive like husky Malamute dog and just brought it home. And my parent and at the time she was probably like not even 14, probably like 13, and she just like was like, I found a new dog, and we already had the farm with all these other critters on there.
How did that go?
Well, obviously my parents were like, okay, we need to find the owners of this dog, and so eventually they obviously did that. So no, we didn't keep it or anything, but
I will say it's interesting because growing up, like a lot of animals would go into yard to yard,
mm-hmm.
and that was pretty normal. And it's weird because I felt like they were still cared for, but now when I look at where I'm from, like I'm on their like Facebook group, people like the same dog is all over town, and like the same owner does not care. And that drives me bonkers. But like it's weird because it's like, oh, that was so normal growing up, but like now, like people don't care. It's just like you just have a dog because it's like almost a social thing, like a status thing to have a dog opposed to even caring about it. If that makes any sense. I don't know. But I don't know why people have dogs that they don't care about.
Yeah, but I think it depends on probably maybe like the person that, for this dog that you might still see like wandering around, it could be, and I don't know why I'm saying this again, but it could be like a generational thing, because I think when my parents and like your parents were maybe younger, I'll speak for on behalf of like even my parents, like even growing up, is like the dog was like, 10th on the list of priorities, whereas now it's like, you have kids and then it's dog.
Well, it's only generational because I think our generation like placates to our animals way too much than they used to. I think that we are like, it's in our head to like treat animals almost like to the amount of humans.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say the generation before didn't have that same vibe.
Exactly.
It was more like, hey, you have a dog, and it's like, we're only having it if you take care of it as a child. Like, it was more like the child had to. And so maybe those dogs just sucked at getting taken care of because like 8-year-olds had to take care of them. Mm-hmm. And like, even like if you think about vets, like vets are way more institutionalized now. And they almost like just want to medicate every dog. But I also think things have changed. Like ticks weren't as bad back in the day. But like, you go into a vet now, you look at them the wrong way and it's $500 for medicine.
Yeah, and I don't, maybe I'm not, in this context, not understanding what you mean by, like, institutionalized, but I do think that, and we're probably saying the same thing, that I think vets are more of a business now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah,
institutionalized is like, there's no...
they weren't.
Yeah, it's like you pretty much said it. It's a business now.
Yeah.
And it's always been a business, but it was also like a mom and pop shop in the sense that they cared about your animal.
Yeah, I agree.
And all I'm saying is that kind of attitude when you get a dog day one is different than 30, 40 years ago when you would get a dog. And would you even get it at a vet? No, you get it from puppy mills, which were maybe better than they are now in a lot of senses, because like dogs aren't as... Now dogs have been bred so much.
Yeah.
And everybody has a puppy mill. Yeah. And like you have to realize like, there wasn't like a business to sell animals as much as like there wasn't a place to go buy animals like there is today, like a Pet Value and stuff. They were still around, but couldn't get one in Northern Ontario.
That is a good question. Where would people, like, I guess they would read it in the newspaper. Yeah. I would imagine.
And it's a puppy mill. That's technically what it is. And like you hope that they have papers.
I mean, unless I mean, unless it's not. Like, it could
Oh.
actually be a breeder, but...
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. There is a difference between a breeder and a puppy mill. I'm using the word for both. Anyway, so I guess, yeah, coming back to, because I went on a tangent there. Yeah, coming back, I just think, I forget what the original point was.
Well, we were talking about, like, that vets are businesses
But even
now.
before that, like, we're talking about how dogs growing up were like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I've ruined
The flow.
I will say the weirdest thing, and to take over in the conversation, the worst thing that I obviously mentioned a cat went into the outhouse, but that same cat disappeared for 2 months, straight up,
Crazy.
and it was heartbreaking. But one day, it's underneath my mom's truck. And it was fed, so someone was literally taking care of that cat for like a month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an outdoor cat. Funny how given messing with people who even care about their animals, we lost our cat for 2 months.
Yeah.
You know,
Oxymoron.
not a hypocrite. And but I remember, just feeling so sad because that cat was awesome, Tinker too,
Mm-hmm.
and Tinker 30 was great too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I know, and we can get into this too, but we've had Duke for 6. I mean, he just turned 6 like 4 days ago.
Yeah.
But I've never really had an animal go missing. My parents have. Tia, their little like 13-pound like Shih Tzu poodle went missing, and it ended up being that and she was gone for like 12 hours or so, but she actually she was underneath the deck.
Yeah.
And their cat at the time
found
it. So that was even like terrifying, and that wasn't even happening to me. And like I know the panic and distress and like sadness that my parents were feeling at that time. So I couldn't imagine, and that's why, I mean, not only are there leash laws, like, in Ontario, obviously I can't speak for the rest of Canada, but, like, I mean, that's why we keep, especially Duke, on a leash, because if he smells something, like, he'll be gone.
Yeah,
like,
no recall anymore.
No recall, especially if he's on a scent, like, he's on another planet. Like, I've just, we've talked about before, or I've mentioned it, where I think it was like in the UK or something, like, somebody in their English Cocker Spaniel, and they would go for an off-leash walk, every day, kind of in the foothills, and one day the dog just ran off over the hill, and they never saw it again, and I'm like, I just couldn't imagine dealing with that, so I'm like, I just can't ever have these dogs off leash unless it's obviously, like, fenced in.
Yep.
But, anyways, I digress. But do you have a weird animal experience as a kid?
A weird animal experience?
I'm surprised you didn't. I know you're kind of talking about guinea pigs, but you never had hamsters?
No, I never had a hamster.
That's interesting. I feel like that's part of like most
sticky animals. Even I think we had a rabbit for a minute. Like they don't smell good, and I never liked that. Like they're cute, but I was never a fan of them.
Yeah. I had a hamster that I was probably, I'll just like say I was probably younger than I really was just to make myself look better, but I think I was probably like maybe 8, and I had a little hamster, and I put him in my backpack. Oh my God. And I was like, I'm gonna like go outside and play with my friends and like have my hamster like in the backpack with me, and then I totally forgot the hamster was like in the backpack, and I put the backpack down, and obviously the hamster ran away. Oh. And I feel like your face, you thought someone like sat on it or something.
Yeah, that's where I thought this was going. It's still awful. Did you get the hamster back?
No, absolutely not.
It's probably still alive.
Probably, it's like breeding.
32 years old.
They only lived being 2. So my family sometimes like teases me about that. How it's just like, but obviously you're.
Do you remember where you lost it?
I think it was in our backyard. I think. In London, and one of the first times
let's take a rip over there. We'll take a look
to see if it's still there.
We'll try to find it.
Oh man, so silly. I'm like, but I put it in my backpack. It should still be there. And then, sure enough, it definitely had given itself a little bit of freedom. So yeah, that was probably
Wow.
one of
I've
my
never heard that
weirdest.
story. I actually
No, I
feel
don't
really
think so.
bad.
I
Like,
know.
I'm kind of teasing you, but I'm like, man,
Yeah.
how did you feel the next day?
Yeah.
Not too happy.
Not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You know what? I hate to put him on blast because it's his birthday this week, turning 7 years old. My dad one time called me, and I was in college and told me the dog had died, Tess. And then I was like really getting upset because it was our family dog. He was like, "No, I'm just joking."
Mm-hmm.
I remember being like, I've never wanted to strangle someone through the phone more in my life.
Like he was just joking?
Yeah, because like I knew the dog was sick, so I kept calling. And I think he was trying to get he was getting annoyed with my calls, so he was just like, "Oh, the dog's dead." So I think I started to cry a bit, and then he's like, "I was just joking."
But wasn't there also then an actual time? I mean,
Yeah,
obviously.
then he literally
then he
called me
did.
maybe like a year later, and my dog had died.
Yeah.
And so, and it's interesting because I'm like, "Are you being serious?"
Yeah.
Like,
Well.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that's tough. That's definitely. That's not a funny prank. I mean, generally speaking, I'm not a big fan of pranks as it is.
Yeah.
But when you involve like an animal or like emotions like that, I don't know. I'm not. I don't think that's cool.
And generally, my dad's kind of funny, but yeah, one of his, not his best joke. But
No.
hey, he's never done it again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, happy early birthday there, old man.
Yeah.
70.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's always interesting when it's the first of your parents that are turning 70.
Yeah.
In that category. It's very strange. I mean, I've already been in that bucket for almost 6 years, but.
Yeah. It wasn't a competition.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
I won. Do you want to talk about our current fur babies? I know we've
I feel like we already did.
What?
What about him? Duke turned 6 this week. He's the coolest.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Lily isn't as cool. She's trying though, but she's
a tryhard.
Yeah, she tries way too hard, and it's just like, yeah, you're not that cool. Like Duke doesn't try, and he's just cool.
Yeah. Were there any like quirky things about either of them that? Yeah.
Well, Duke.
Duke
didn't care for when I would wear a balaclava.
Mm-hmm. Does anybody care for that?
I think Lily likes it.
Maybe. I don't think so. I just think she's
What do you mean?
Don't be confused with liking versus being neutral.
You snuck something by it. Is it bad that I wear a balaclava in the winter or what?
Yeah, they're weird.
No, it's because it's cold and I have to shovel snow, so I wear a balaclava.
Yeah, well, the rule is you can't wear it off property.
That's you. I don't care. Like it's all.
Okay, well, not when you're with me.
Well,
because you look like a murderer.
This is news to me. Well, I look like a robber.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, sorry. Wrong job.
If I was
wrong criminal.
If I had a glass of milk, I'd look like a murderer. But either way,
have like a balaclava and a glass of milk walking down the street in the winter.
But I used to wear the balaclava, and I would call myself Balaclava Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And Duke, I actually have a video of her. Duke is like legitimately scared of me.
Yeah.
Because like what am I gonna rob off you, dog? Like,
yeah. It's just because he can't see your facial features. That's hard to say.
Yeah. Well, he's fine now. I was like that, but I don't bug him in as much anymore.
Mm-hmm. We've also discovered recently, which was kind of my doing, but that he's like afraid of like AirPods or like
the case because it snaps close.
Yeah, but we thought it was maybe the sound of it, but it's not because Lily doesn't react at all. So we thought maybe it was like just the decibel or something of it snapping shut. But yeah, he's so silly and he's not afraid of much.
No.
Nothing really. He's just like you say. He's so chill. Nothing really bothers him. So it's such like a weird anomaly when he's like afraid of something so obscure.
You also can't put a hat on him, so
that's true.
He might just hate things that have to do with on your head, like he hates AirPods.
Something to do with his ears, maybe.
He hates AirPods, balaclava, and hats. We have to see how he feels about sunglasses, like
or scarves.
Yeah, yeah,
that's like the middle. It's a middle.
Yeah. If I wear a scarf, he's just like, I don't like this. Yeah.
And also one of the cutest things about him, which Lily doesn't do, which I find interesting because she's half Cocker Spaniel, and I don't know if it's a Cocker Spaniel thing, but he definitely like woos a lot. Like he'll go woo.
Yeah.
But Lily doesn't even like, because he'll do it when he's stretching and all that, and Lily does the same / similar stretches, but she doesn't woo. It's just so interesting.
Well, Lily and I have the stare game where I can only stare at her for 5 seconds or less, or she wants to fight me.
Yes.
She'll get in my face. I kind of like it. It's cute. I don't do it a lot because I do think it annoys her a bit. So,
yeah.
What else?
And then Dookie, he'll
Well, let's go to Lily. Dookie's 18. Like
I know.
Dookie, we've done one for Lily.
Well, I find Lily loves to.
Oh, the trots.
That sounds bad. It's not that kind of trot.
Well, she trots around sometimes. And
I know, but trotting can also mean diarrhea.
Oh, really?
The trots, yeah.
Oh.
Means diarrhea as well.
Okay.
But no, so when she walks, she like trots, and she's just and she'll ask for pets while you're walking, and so she's kind of like has to stand a little taller so that she can like reach your hand. So she just kind of like prances through. She also loves like chewing up cardboard, I think is one of her favorite little quirks. And I think this is a poodle thing, but she sleeps on her back a lot because Duke is doing it more for some reason, but she's always just like
on her
just
back,
chilling. Like, yeah, when she's really relaxed, she'll just like she won't sleep on her back for 9 hours straight, but that's her like go-to position is like lying on her back.
Yeah, and she'll always like step on my lap. Like if I'm sitting on a chair or like on a stair, she'll just sit on my lap and like look out.
It's so interesting. It's like she's trying to get like well, I don't know if that's what it is, but she's just trying to get a better view. But yeah, like even just like sitting outside or whatever, and if you're sitting on the stoop, she'll just like come and like stand on your leg. It's just so weird.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It could be dominance thing, but she's kind of a wuss, so I don't really believe it's a dominance thing. But yeah, and then are there any dogs with jobs that or what would Duke or
I think we did the dogs.
We did do that, but I will mention that we can't really like qualify them as therapy dogs, but we do volunteer at a local like retirement home, and we'll bring them in. So I don't know if it's really truly pet therapy, but it's kind of cute because we'll bring them both together, and they're just both so sweet and they're both just very, very happy dogs, and they love people, and so that's always fun to do with them too.
Yeah. I guess with all this talks about dogs, like we're obviously dog people opposed to cat people.
I think so. I mean, the nice thing about cats is that obviously they're more independent, and that means that you can therefore be more independent. So, it'd be nice if we went away for a night and we could just leave, say, if we had a cat or a couple cats, we could just like not worry about the cat for whatever, maybe like 24 hours, or have like one person come in and check on them a couple times versus having consistent care with the dogs. But
robot feeder. I do think I think everyone knows like cats are independent, but I also just think there's a certain victory when a cat gives you attention. Because like dogs will love you as long as you love them back, but cats are a little bit, they're doing their own thing, and they're like, yeah, you're okay. Here's a pat.
Yeah. I will say though that depends on the cat. Because Harrison.
I think, some cat. Well,
there are truly some exceptions. Like Harrison, my parents' cat, like this cat, and my mom used to work like in an animal clinic when she was like 16. So she's like been around animals for, over 40 years. And she even says that she has never seen a cat that is as affectionate as Harrison, and will literally be clambering you at your neck, will drool on you, like he's this weird drooling thing. Like
I think that breed of cat, that's a tabby, right?
Well, it is a tabby.
Calico or something.
No, it is a tabby, but it almost looks like I don't know if it's like a Bengal or whatever.
Yeah.
It kind of looks. He's not, but that's the pattern he kind of has, where it's like stripes and some spots. But yes,
I've seen cats like that, and believe me, Harrison is affectionate, but I've seen affectionate cats like that, like not as affectionate as him, but pretty close. So I don't think I think it could be the breed because I've also seen like other cats like Siamese or like just other cats are just like they don't give a crap about you.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think Harrison is a bit of an outlier, but I also think that he wouldn't be the first cat that's ever like wanted my affection.
No.
And I also think that like it depends on the cat, but I do think if you're there at night, like if you've been around a cat for like 24 hours at night, they'll come out and they'll like hang out with you and they eventually warm up to you.
Yeah, and like we have talked about getting a cat, us now with 2 dogs, but then there's like the thing of once again the pet sitting, right? Like
I think it'll happen in the future when we upgrade our house. I think honestly that'll happen.
Yeah, but then that means that someone will have to be in the house, probably taking care of the animals.
I'll worry about that then.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, well, I wonder how much it's gonna cost me to have someone to stay in. I want a cat, and when it makes sense for the cat to live in a comfortable spot, then I'll get one.
Yeah, and I also think too that I would imagine that it's probably better to like have a cat first or a kitten first and then have the dog, because I'm only thinking like with Duke, like I don't think if we got a cat now, like I mean Duke would obviously like adapt to it and it would be a very slow process. I'm not saying that Duke would like kill the cat, but he'd be very interested and he'd probably get scratched and there might be some battles, but like I know, but I mean I obviously don't want him to be hurt or the cat also to be traumatized.
Well, I've not thought that much into the minutia of having a cat, obviously, but I would have a cat. It would not matter to me where the dogs are in their life. It would just happen.
Yeah, and I think we would adopt too.
Yep.
Yeah, we would adopt a cat maybe that is like tough against dogs.
Yeah.
Right? That wouldn't take any crap.
It's got its claws and the dogs will learn real quick.
Yeah.
I've never had an issue with dogs interacting with cats, and we've lived in that kind of house vibe all my life.
True.
And you're right. Like someone wants to dominate. It's usually the dogs like try to see what they can get away with, and the cat puts them right in the spot because dogs are just like, whoa, I don't have that sharp of claws, and they kind of do.
That's true.
Like the cat will be like, I'm a karate kitty.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, do you have any random questions before we?
I certainly do.
Uh-oh.
If you could own any non-dangerous exotic animal as a pet, what would it be and why? It can be dangerous if you want.
For some reason, my mind goes like straight to dolphin. I don't know why.
Dolphin? What the?
I don't know. I mean, you didn't have to say it has to be in the house.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess
right?
so. Yeah, obviously I wasn't thinking that exotic.
That exotic? Yeah, I just think that dolphins are really smart, and I think that they...
I bet you they would drink milk as a mammal.
Maybe. Is that how it works? Is that how dolphins are born? Yeah, I don't know. I just think that they're really intelligent, and I think they can be, like, super affectionate, and yeah, I just think they would be such a cool... I mean, if it wasn't... I mean, that's, once again, dream world. And, I mean, do I think that having creatures... Do I think that having creatures that large is, like, mean and cruel? And do I like zoos and aquariums?
I get it.
No.
I get it. Look,
definitely. I want to be clear about that. I don't...
You don't even have to say
that. I do, because not maybe everybody knows that, but I'm certainly not for that. But yeah, in Fantasyland, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, mine sucks now. I was just gonna say a skunk, but
that's a really good one too, though.
Because like I don't know, I've seen them without their like gland there that makes them stinky or whatever.
Yeah, remove their scent gland.
And they're just little funny cats.
They are very cute. I used to actually, when I worked in like animal care, funnily enough, at a zoo, we had one that was descented. Yeah. And she was Rosie. Very cute.
That's a great name too.
I know. Well, Rosie the skunk.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's a good one. Raccoons would be cute too.
I don't
little
like
rodents.
raccoons.
Or squirrel. or a squirrel.
Well, yeah, squirrel would be awesome.
Don't want to say that too loud. The dogs might get
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
might get triggered.
Well, I will say, because we just kind of had like a discussion about a cat, I would not introduce a squirrel in this house.
Oh, talk about mayhem.
Oh man! But if they did become friends with the squirrel, it would be amazing. It would be the cutest
so
thing ever.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be Senta, like my parents' dog.
Yeah.
The golden retriever. Like, I think she would be like friends. I don't think she would eat it.
I think Lily and the squirrel would become friends, and they would beat up Duke.
Maybe they would do tag team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Duke would get his butt beat.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think that wraps it up for, our typical episode content, but wondering if there's anything that you're thankful for this week.
You go first.
I am certainly thankful for helping me with my tire changing stuff.
Oh yeah, I did that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of heavy tires. So
Well,
I appreciate doing that, and then driving me, and then picking me up, and put obviously the winter tires away. So that's always a whole rigmarole every year. So I appreciate that once the season rolls around.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thanks for watching some hockey with me, because it was really fun that we watched that St. Louis game and Winnipeg game when it kind of came back.
Yeah.
That got
intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I know we did our sports episode last week, but yeah, we're definitely in the thick of playoff season, and when it starts to get, for me at least, like tight in those series, the game of the series, that it could be like the series ending game, I do really like watching it with you. You always obviously have a lot of commentary as well, so it's fun.
Yeah, we always find out something and just yak about anything. Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Well, thank you for listening. If you're still there, let us know if you are listening in the comments, or follow us.
Yeah.
Review. But yeah, and if you want to share, what's the funniest thing that your dog, cat, lizard, hermit crab, whatever insert animal here has done, let us know in the comments too. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
And the dogs.
And quickly, if you had a hermit crab, I'd love to know its name, because my sister and brother also had a hermit crab. My brother's was named Zeus, and my sister's named her Carlos. So yeah, thanks for coming, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Good night.
Goodbye.